Hello, aloha, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Touchful Podcast. And I don't know when you are listening to this, but I am recording this episode on 24th of December, so on Christmas Eve. And it feels super special to be talking to you on Christmas Eve. And this Christmas is also quite different for me. It is the first time in my life when I spend Christmas alone in my little cabin. And I spend it alone out of choice. But I don't feel lonely. I feel so much love and joy and gratitude and just so many beautiful, good feelings filling up my heart that it feels like it's almost too big for my chest. So I thought that it would be the most proper time to talk about one of my favorite topics of all time, which is gratitude, practicing gratitude, cultivating gratitude. And it is not the first time I'm talking about this topic in the podcast. I made a whole episode about gratitude and connection and how it changes everything, how it changed my approach to life. And I feel super passionate about the topic of gratitude, and I want to be talking about it more and more and more and more, because I believe that this is something that should be taught at schools. It's like basic things about being a human, how to be grateful and how many wonderful things gratitude can do for us, or at least I believe so, that all the gratitude practices that I want to share with you in this episode, I feel that they have changed my life. They have opened my heart beyond measure, made my relationships better, made my relationship with myself better, made me a better Lomi practitioner, made me a better friend, a better partner, a better daughter, a better human. So this episode will be about how I practice gratitude, what I do to practice it. And I decided to title this episode My Gratitude Practices Beside Journaling, or Other Than Journaling, because I have a feeling that gratitude journal is one of the most common practices, and it's definitely one of the practices that I started with. And I think that I mentioned the gratitude journal in one or even more of the previous episodes. So I will tell you briefly about how now I practice my gratitude journal, how I do it. But I want to give you 7, or at least 7, I have 7 on my list, at least 7 other ideas, practices of how I practice gratitude, how I allow this feeling, this beautiful, nourishing feeling to overtake me, to fill me up, to open up my heart even more. And I feel that, like I said, I'm super passionate about this topic, and it's for a couple of reasons. And the first one is that gratitude is healthy. It is simply a super healthy approach to life. It is a healthy habit. These are healthy practices. And by healthy, I mean that they are good for your health. And it's a ton of scientific research on how gratitude makes your immune system work better, how it is good for your heart, your physical heart, how gratitude can be healing for your heart and for your blood pressure, how it improves your mental health, how it helps you to sleep better, and so on and so forth. It's such a fascinating area of research, how practicing gratitude for 10-15 minutes a day can completely change your health, improve your health, and change your attitude towards life. So that is number one thing. It is healthy. Number two thing, why I love gratitude so much, is that I feel that it is relatively easy. And what I mean by that is that maybe you are this kind of person who is not so much into meditating, doing some advanced meditations, or visualizations or some breath work. Maybe you are not that much into body work like I am, and that's okay. But I feel that gratitude has such a I'm going to call it such a low entry point that it is so easy to start to practice it. And one of my intentions of this episode is to give you some ideas of how you can start practicing gratitude immediately. And you can do it on yourself, on your own, or also you can do it with other people. And I will give you some ideas of how I practice gratitude on my own and how I also invite people who are close to me, dear to me, to practice gratitude together. Okay, let's go then. So in one of the previous episodes, I think the title is Gratitude and Connection, or How to Cultivate Gratitude and Connection. I was talking a lot about how to practice feeling gratitude, feeling grateful, feeling gratefulness. So not to approach this from the level of your mind, because if you approach this from the level of your mind, it will never be able to go to your body. You will never be able, or it will be very difficult, in my opinion, to really embody it. And that is what we want. We want embodied gratitude. So in that episode, I was talking a lot about these differences between thinking about gratitude and actually really feeling it, and how to tap into the feeling of gratitude. So I will not be talking about it that much in this episode, because I want to rather focus on the practices that I do. And even though I don't want to talk that much about gratitude journaling your gratitude, because again, I feel that it's such a popular idea that you can find so many blog posts and articles and podcasts about it, and I think even myself I mentioned this practice a couple of times, so I don't want to talk much about it, but I will tell you how my journaling looks now, how my gratitude journal looks now, because it has changed a little bit over the last months. So what I would used to do is I would have a special notebook that would be just for that, and every evening before going to sleep, I would take a moment with myself to really feel what I was grateful for and to write it down in my notebook. Sometimes it would be 1 or 2 or 3 things, sometimes it would be 10. But this is one of the beautiful things about gratitude, that the more you're grateful, the more you practice it, the more it comes to you. So I would do it in the evening. But now my approach is a little bit different. That the journaling practice that I do is a little bit different. And I do it in the morning and in the evening. So I have a notebook, and each page of the notebook is it's divided into 2 parts. One is for the morning and one is for the evening. And this is actually one of my favorite ways to start the day. After I wake up and, do some little things in the morning, I like to take a moment and sit with my gratitude journal and write down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for in the morning, almost immediately after waking up. And at first, when I started this, I thought that it would be quite difficult, because while it is easy for me to find things that I'm grateful for in the evening, because so many things had happened on a given day, so many things, people, meetings, encounters, adventures, that I can be grateful for, then when I got this idea that I want to also do it in the morning, I was like, what I would be writing about, 5 minutes after I woke up. But it turned out to be a beautiful thing, a beautiful practice to see what gratitude is in me, what things I'm grateful for immediately after waking up. So if you want to do a gratitude journal, which is a beautiful practice, then I recommend doing it either in the evening, or you can do it just in the morning, or you can do it also in the morning and in the evening like I am doing now. And it's a wonderful thing to do, to write things down. But I want to give you 7 other things, 7 other practices that I am doing, things that I love doing, that bring more gratitude into my life. And they are in no particular order, just a list of things that I that I do. So number one on my list is gratitude for people and expressing my gratitude for people. And this is something that I quite often do in the morning as well. So after I journal a couple of things that I'm grateful for, it just fills me up with so much joy and so much care and this loving energy that I want to share it with somebody. I feel like I have so much of it that I want to share it. And I sometimes, not every day, just when I feel it, but I like to send a message to one person or two people or three people, a message that expresses my gratitude for them being in my life. And for different people, I use different words. And for different people, I use different ways to convey that message. Sometimes I just send a little message on Messenger. Sometimes I like to send a voice note. Sometimes I actually like to call that person. But to really find this, the idea is to really find this genuine place in yourself. When you think about a person in your life, the first person that comes to you, and you feel just so grateful for them, for something that they've done to you, or just for their presence, for their inspiration that they are for you, for the smile, for the joy that they bring to your life. And if you feel like this about anybody, let them know. Please, let's send messages to each other, messages of love and appreciation. I find it so beautiful. So that's a very easy thing that you can do. In fact, actually, even if you want to, you can stop listening. You can pause this episode right now. You can pause it, and no worries, I will be here waiting for you when you come back. But you can pause it right now and send a message to 3 people that you feel grateful for, that they are in your life. And see how easy or how difficult it is. See how it makes you feel. See what opens up for you when you allow yourself to tap into gratitude for people in your life. I find this practice so beautiful and so nourishing for my relationships. And I sometimes receive messages like this from my friends as well, or from some family members, and I just find them so heartwarming and just so amazing and delightful. It's such a beautiful thing to know that you are a treasure in somebody's life, that somebody feels grateful for you. And it is also a treasure to let somebody know that they are important to you and that you are grateful for them. Another thing that I love, and it brings tears almost each and every time, tears to my eyes, and I like to start my day again with this, or I like to do it in the first part of my day, so not so much in the evening, because this practice really boosts me up so much and it gives me so much energy and just so much love to share, that I like to do it in the morning or in the first part of my day. And it is an exercise that is called priming. It is an exercise by Tony Robbins, or at least that's how I found it. And I'm going to simply leave you the link to the YouTube video, which is a short video. It's, I think, less than 15 minutes long, when Tony Robbins takes you through each and every step of this exercise that he calls priming. And it involves both breath work and some visualization, gratitude, feeling grateful, collecting the memories that you feel grateful for and just stacking them in your heart, sending gratitude and love to the world. There are a couple of stages to that process, and I don't want to explain this to you in a podcast episode, because I think that it's best if you experience it on your own. So just, if this sounds interesting to you, if this is something that you would love to try, check the link to the YouTube video that I'm going to leave in this episode's description. and give it a try. Like I said, I cry each and every time I do this. And it takes about 15 minutes. And after these 15 minutes, I feel so boosted up with love and gratitude and connection. And I feel so empowered. I feel so good, both physically and mentally and emotionally. I feel so loved. I feel so capable. I feel so inspired. And I'm so glad that I gave this priming exercise a try, a chance, because now it has become something that I practice almost every day. And it does exactly what it says. It primes you. It primes you for the whole day. The third thing that I really love, and I think this one is the simplest of them all, the easiest of them all. So if there is one thing that you want to start with, one little practice that you would like to start with immediately, and it requires almost no effort, then it's going to be this one. Because this practice is simply noticing this moment. Noticing a moment in which something beautiful happens, or ordinary, but I will explain that in a moment. But noticing that and saying thank you. You can just say to yourself in your own mind, in your own heart. Nobody needs to hear that. You can, and this is something that I often do, you can put your hand on your heart and say thank you, either out loud or again, just say it to yourself in your head. You can do it in many different ways, but the basic idea is that you notice a moment and you choose to make this moment worthy of your gratitude, or to just see that this moment is something to be grateful for. And I quite often practice this when I do lomi, when I do a massage. And when I do lomi, when I dance around the bench, there is lots of things always happening in me. And there are these moments when there is like so much love and connection rising up in me, and I just feel so amazing about myself and about the world, and there's just so much rising up in me. And that would be the moment that if I notice it, if I manage to sort of like catch this moment, to become aware of this moment, this would be the moment when I would say thank you to myself, in my own mind, in my own heart, without losing the rhythm of the lomi that I do, without changing a thing. And it started in my lomi practice, but then it just became almost like a habit to me, and it's something that I do quite often throughout the day. And it might be about very simple things. If I take a bite of an apple and I just notice like, wow, this is really good apple, then I can just, for 1 second, it really takes 1 second, just for 1 second, bring my awareness to that moment that this apple is so good, and to tell myself in my own heart, in my own mind, thank you. Or when I go for a walk and I see something particularly beautiful, or today I went for a walk and there was this raven flying by, and it made the most like amazing and weird and bizarre sound that I never heard a raven making such a sound before. It was so unreal. And that was the moment when I was like, wow. And then I said, thank you. Just thank you that I was able to experience that. I did a whole episode about it, or I think even more than one. One of the episodes that is a lot about this, about noticing moments and saying thank you. One of the episodes is, I think the title is Life is About Crystals and Soap Bubbles. And the other episode, I also made another one about it. I don't remember the title of it, but maybe I will also link it in the description of this episode. And like I said, this is the simplest thing that you can do. And remember that you say thank you to yourself for being able to experience this, to feel this, to notice this. And it is also a thank you to the whole world, that the world has brought you this kind of experience. And by the way, a little side note, it's very windy today in my cozy cabin, and I'm not sure if you can hear the wind, but if there are some weird sounds in the background, then it is the wind. And right now, probably because I was talking about this practice of noticing and saying thank you, right now I just felt it in my heart that I'll just thank you that I can be inside in the warm cabin and listen to the sounds of the wind, which are one of my favorite sounds in the world. And the most beautiful thing about practicing gratitude is that it is a practice. It really, literally is a practice, like anything in your life. At first, if you have never before in your life, if you've never deliberately practiced gratitude, then at first it might feel a little awkward, a little weird, a little forced, but then it just becomes so natural. And like I said, the more you're grateful, and it nourishes you, and it opens up your heart, and it boosts your body and your brain, and it just becomes a part of your lifestyle, becomes a part of who you are. I very often compare practicing gratitude to practicing anything at the gym. When you go to the gym for the very first time, most likely anything that you will do on any kind of this weird machinery in a gym, it probably will feel weird or unnatural, or you would maybe even think that you are making a fool of yourself at that gym because it's something that you have never done before in your life. But if you go for the second time and a third time and so on and so forth, then it just becomes so easy and so natural. And eventually it might happen that going to the gym and fitness just becomes a part of your life. It becomes who you are. It becomes a part of your identity. And it's exactly like this with everything in your life that you practice. And gratitude is not an exception. So when I realized that I can practice different things in life, and if I practice something, I'm going to become good at it, then I thought to myself, okay, what I really want to practice, what I want to be good at, what I want to master, what will be the most beautiful, nourishing, life-changing practice for me. And one of the answers for me was gratitude. I want to become a master of it. I want to master it to the point when my whole life is just gratitude. That my whole life is just a constant feeling of being grateful whatever happens to me, because I know that it happens not to me, but it happens for me. It happens through me. And I am, I am so very grateful that I decided to practice this in my life, because you can practice anything that you want. You can practice being stressed, and then you will get really good at it. You can practice complaining, and then you will become good at it. Or you can practice generosity, gratitude. You can practice making your dreams come true. You can practice expressing love. You can practice embodying love. And the more you practice it, the better you will be at it, just like with any other activity. Okay, that was quite a long side note, but it was not even a side note. It was like a really important add-on to the list of things that I feel, to the list of exercises that I do to feel more grateful. So the last one I mentioned was noticing these little moments throughout the day, and they are endless. In every moment of your life, you get an opportunity to be grateful for something. How about that? And number 4 is one of my favorite practices to do with somebody. You can do it with your partner. You can do it with your child. You can do it with your friend. You can do it with anybody you want. I like to do it with my partner. And it is something that I like to do in the evening. So when it's bedtime, when we're already in bed, But also sometimes it's something that you can do at a dinner time when you just have this nice flowing conversation. And this practice is simply asking the other person, what was the highlight of your day? Of today? What was the highlight of your day? What was the best thing that happened to you today? And just allow them to answer. And if they tell you like, I don't know, then encourage them like, yeah, okay, but like if you give a moment like to this thought, like what was the best thing that happened to you, for you? Because the best thing that happened for me was da 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 da. And it is a beautiful conversation starter as well. So instead of talking about inflation or politics or complaining or all the things that bring us down, we can talk about what was the highlight of your day? What was the best thing that happened for you today? And I don't have children myself, but I feel that this might be also a very, very beautiful practice to do with children when it's bedtime, to ask your child, what was the best thing that happened for you today? The treasure of today. Something that was just like, the best. Something that you remember the most delightful thing. What was the highlight of your day? Another practice that I really love, but this one is a little weird, is gratitude alarm clocks. So if you listened to my previous episode, which was about schools and education systems, there was a moment when my alarm clock went off. And then I explained to you why I have alarm clocks every 10 or 15 minutes. And I use them as reminders. They remind me that I want to consciously think about good things, that I want to consciously feed myself with beautiful thoughts. And one of the practices that I often like doing, it's usually when I have a day off, so I don't have any lomies, I don't have any sessions, so I can have this day when there is really an alarm clock every 15 minutes or every 17 minutes, 18 minutes, 23 minutes, 12 minutes. I like to keep it a little bit diverse, but in short intervals of time. The alarm clock goes off. Okay, I'm sure that you heard this wind gust because I could feel it. I could feel that my cabin was moving. I love it when it's windy. Oh, thank you for that. So, coming back to gratitude alarm clocks. When my alarm clock goes off, I turn it off and I have this moment, depending on what I want to practice. Sometimes I want to practice gratitude. Sometimes I want to practice connecting to my dreams. Sometimes I want to practice opening up for love or opening up for abundance. But if I practice gratitude, then when this alarm goes off, I turn it off and I stop doing whatever I'm doing. I give myself 15 or 30 seconds or 1 minute to feel, again, not to think, but to really feel what I'm grateful the most in this given moment. And if I only have a chance, I like to say it out loud. So this practice might seem like a little bit too much for some of you. And at the beginning, when I heard about this practice from my mentor, I was also a little bit apprehensive. I was like, there is no way I'm going to have alarm clock ringing every 15 or 20 or 25 minutes. That would be just crazy. But when I gave it a try and when I actually did it for 2 days in a row, these were like one of the best days in my life because I was constantly being reminded and being invited to think beautiful thoughts, to direct my energy towards beautiful things, and remember that it is a very simple law that whatever you give your attention to, whatever you give your energy to, it grows, it multiplies. So when I have a day when every 15 or 20 or 25 minutes I direct my whole attention and my whole energy to the feeling of gratitude or the feeling of love or fulfillment of my dreams, these things get bigger in me and I can feel how much this practice is nourishing for me. So if this is something that sounds interesting for you, I would say give it a try. And another thing that I like doing is I'm just gonna call it like general meditation or some mindful practices. So in general, I noticed this, that when I started to meditate regularly, and I started to do that this year, 2023, sometime in spring, I decided that I want to meditate every day. I want this to become my everyday practice, that I call it sitting with my human, that sitting with my human and getting to know my human and giving myself time, even if it's just 15 minutes every day, to meditate, to sit with myself, to sit with my own thoughts with utmost curiosity and love and compassion. When I decided that this is the most important thing for me, and I started to do it regularly, almost every day, I'm not gonna lie that it's like every day, but almost every day, then things started to change in every area of my life. I cannot even start to think like where to begin to explain it to you, how my life has changed because of my regular meditation practice. But one of the things that I noticed is that it became easier for me to be grateful, to just feel gratitude even without any particular reason, without trying to find a reason to be grateful. And I believe that this is one of many, many, many things that meditation does to us, because it brings us to this very present moment, to this beautiful and generous present moment. I feel like I need to speak louder and louder to be louder than the wind, but I hope that you can still hear me, because it's so windy now that I can barely hear myself. So I believe that what meditation does for us, it definitely does this for me. It brings me to this generous present moment, beautiful, kind, loving present moment when it's just easy to be grateful. I somehow feel that on one hand, yes, I call it gratitude practices, and I tell you that it's something that we need to practice, to master, to become better and better at it. But at the same time, I also feel that gratitude and love are our natural states of being, that this is who we are in our essence, in our core, in our nature. We are made of gratitude and love, of these elevated feelings. So this might be yet another encouragement for you to start meditating, or to meditate regularly if you do it every now and then, to give yourself, I really don't like this word, but I'm gonna use it, to give yourself a challenge to meditate every day for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, or I sometimes do like 1 hour meditations when they are guided meditations, and they are the most beautiful ones. But I also understand that not everybody might have a chance or a need to make that much time, like 1 hour or 2 hours every day for meditating. But even if you want to start small with 15 minutes or even 10 minutes of some mindful practices, just sitting with yourself without any distractions, without your phone, without a book, without anything, just sitting with yourself and with your own thoughts in compassion and in curiosity, then I believe that one of the many effects that you will notice is that it will become easier for you to do all the other practices that I mentioned. It will be easier for you to do them, because it will be easier for you to naturally tap into gratitude. And finally, number 7, I believe I am at number 7, I'm checking my list right now. It is such a sweet practice, and I love it so much, and I call it gratitude for the future. Or actually, I love to call it my favorite memories from the future. Yes, you hear me right. My favorite memories from the future. And this is a practice that I love doing. I think it's absolutely magical when it comes to making my dreams come true, when it comes to this is a very popular word right now, to manifesting things, to manifesting your life, when it comes to boosting my confidence, and when it comes to me feeling so grateful, memories from the future. And this is exactly what it sounds like. So what I like to do is I like to close my eyes, and just like we sometimes close our eyes to remember something that happened in the past, and when we remember this, it comes to us not just in the form of images or sounds, but very often it also comes to us in forms of feelings, that our memories are stored in a form of feelings, how something made us feel when it happened. And I use the same premise to work with the energy of the future. So I close my eyes and I imagine something and I bring it as a memory. I bring it like something that has already happened, and I bring it with all the feelings attached to it. One of them being gratitude, being so grateful that it has happened and how it made me feel. And I do it about huge things, about the biggest goals of my life, the biggest, boldest, most crazy dreams of my life. I remember them as if they had happened already and how they made me feel when they happened, but I also do it about very little things. And to give you an example, I did this practice before I started recording this episode today. I was sitting with a mic, ready to record, but first I closed my eyes, and the moment I close my eyes, I'll almost automatically put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly, and I take a breath. So I did that, and I brought the memory from the future, the memory of me finishing recording this episode and feeling that it was a good job, that I recorded a beautiful episode, that my words were flowing easily, that I brought so much value for myself and hopefully for everybody who listens to that. I brought that as something that has already happened, even though it was theoretically, technically, still in the future. But I allowed myself to feel the gratitude for this already being completed, for me already having finished recording this episode. And this practice, of all these 7 practices that I shared with you, I think this one is, to me, the most magical, absolutely magical, because it makes me feel like time doesn't exist, or it makes me feel like time goes in circles, or it goes in loops. Something that I imagined, something that I brought as a memory from the future, when it happens, it feels like time made a full circle, and I feel the gratitude that I was imagining that I would be feeling. I feel the gratitude that I was feeling when I was bringing that memory from the future to my heart. So I wholeheartedly encourage you to try this one, or to try any of the practices that I shared with you. And I wonder which one would be your favorite, which one would be the one that you would like to start with, or maybe you have your own ways of practicing gratitude, and if yes, then I would love to know them, because as you can hear, I'm so passionate about this topic that I would love to know, what is the place of gratitude in your life? How do you practice feeling grateful, opening up your heart, growing, expanding? You have my email address in the description of this episode, so if you want to send me a message, please do. I am here, just on the other side of the internet, and I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear your insights. If there is something that felt like it was particularly interesting or valuable, some little golden nugget that you are taking from this episode, I would love to know what it is. And other than that, I just want to say thank you. This episode was about gratitude, and I feel so grateful for so many things connected to this podcast of mine. For me being consistent with it, as I promised to myself. For you who listen to this, that you chose to spend 40 minutes of your life with me. This feels so precious and so priceless. I am so grateful for the technology that allows us to connect in such a way that your present moment connects with my present moment, because regardless of when you listen to this, we are connected in this present moment. My present moment of recording and your present moment of listening to this connects us. And I find it beautiful and I find it magical. And I'm so grateful for the technology that allows us to do that. So thank you for you. If you listen to this around the holiday season when I'm recording this, then I want to wish you beautiful celebrations, beautiful holidays, and may they be filled with gratitude and love and connections, and make beautiful memories, and love and laugh and hug and eat and have fun and dance and sing and be the amazing person that you are. And I will talk to you in 1 week. Aloha. Bye bye.